I was with Pacini before he died.
Name drop.
I was.
What is the best Sonic game? Sonic 3? Sonic Adventure? Sonic Adventure 2? Sonic Generations? Shadow Generations? Heck, what about Sonic Unleashed or Sonic and the Black Knight? My opinion always changes whenever I feel like it. But it's always those 7. Especially nowadays. I'm not the only one though. Many people think that these 7 each have a right to be considered the best of the best. I'd like to think of them as the 6 golden coins from Mario Land 2, legendary as they are. But one person who might be considered a contrarian is Craig Harris, the founding editor of IGN. IGN has always had a rough history with the blue blur. But at the time when making fun of Sonic wasn't so common, Harris played a cute little game on an obscure handheld, the Neo Geo Pocket Color made by SNK. He gave it a 10 out of 10. Does it really deserve this? Well, let's find out. Let's go back in time. The Neo Geo Pocket Color was released as a way to compete with the Game Boy Color. There was an original Neo Geo Pocket that was released only in Japan, but this was in black and white. The funny thing is, SNK, who made the Neo Geo line of products, they formed a partnership with Sega to make a link cable to connect both the Pocket Color and the Sega Dreamcast together. Similar to the GameCube's connectivity to the Game Boy Advance. Only 6 games were compatible though. And I don't think any of them were Sonic Adventure. That didn't stop the two companies from making a Sonic game together. Who thought of this? The game's executive producer was Takashi Nishiyama. He had been making games for IREM, Capcom, and SNK for the longest time. He created Kung Fu Master, originally called Spartan X, though you may know it as Kung Fu on the NES, which, instead of Nishiyama being director, it's Shigeru Miyamoto, who was also making such classics as Super Mario Bros. And The Legend of Zelda. Nishiyama also created that ultimate tentpole of fighting games, Street Fighter, though he only worked on Street Fighter 1 before leaving to form SNK. For the longest time, the only people who played it was Tupac and Juice, AVGN, and Some Call Me Johnny. But now it's everywhere. I have it. This game sucks dick. I'm sorry, Street Fighter 2 saved the series, kinda like Mega Man 2. Then, Nishiyama worked at SNK, creating King of Fighters and Fatal Fury. He seemed to be the top guy at SNK because he became an executive producer of this. One of the graphic designers is Nobuhiko Honda, an artist who worked at Sega for the longest time, starting with Sonic 2 on Game Gear, all the way up to Sonic Jam, Nights into Dreams, and more recently Sonic Adventure, before going to SNK as a supervisor for Pocket Adventure. I think Satoshi Okano worked on the in-game art. He had been an artist for Sega on a ton of games, even Sonic Adventure. In fact, all the art in SA1, most of it wasn't done by character designer Yuji Uekawa, but by Satoshi Okano. Uekawa merely did the coloring on the characters. Now that's not knocking Uekawa's art in any way. He's brilliant and he was responsible for the character designs of Sonic Adventure alongside Okano and Kazuyuki Hoshino. The producer is co-creator of Sonic, producer of Sonic Team, and convicted felon Yuji Naka. He was the producer for this new game, naturally, of Sonic Pocket Adventure. That's all the people I either know or think are responsible for making this game. Speaking of the game, let's get to the stage! Let's get to it, and let me pitch it to you. 8-bit Sonic music, how I missed you. Now, this actually successfully mixes the classic Sonic aesthetic with the, at the time, new aesthetic of Sonic Adventure. You might see classic Sonic, but look! Green eyes! God. Remember when people were mad at Sonic's eyes being green? I wonder what happened to them. Oh, right. Him. He was part of that too, wasn't he? He's for another video. Anyway, I like to call this version of Sonic Puberty Sonic, coined by a friend of the channel and VTuber Frankie the Dillahan. In fact, here's the progression of Puberty Sonic. Japanese 3D blast art, Sonic R album art, Sonic Adventure. Artistically, it's like Sonic's design just evolved. And considering Sonic R's album was released in January 1998, it makes one wonder whether or not Sonic's green-eyed design was going to have the classic shoes or not. Sorry, I must have gotten sidetracked. Anyway, let's start the game. Neo South Island. This is the grassy green tropical trope that a lot of Sonic games have, even in the 3D eras. It plays really well. It's very reminiscent of Emerald Hill Zone, though it also has a bit of Sonic CD, and it uses Sonic Jam's music in Act 1. However, a lot of the music is from Sonic 3. Just like Sonic Jam on the Gamecom. Double, however, this is a much better version of that. Look at how good it sounds. It rivals Yuzo Koshira's compositions for Sonic 1 on Game Gear. Just listen. I'll never know who did the music for this game, but I really want to, thank them for making it. Secret Plant is just Chemical Plant, but the music is Angel Island Act 2 and Hydro City Act 2, which is fucking stupid. Cosmic Casino is just Casino Night, but the music uses 2 of the bonus stages from Sonic 3. That's actually really clever. It's just a shame that this is just an easier version of Casino Night Zone. Not really that great a zone, Cosmic Casino. I can't even find Badniks anywhere. What the hell happened here? Aquatic Relic Zone is just Aquatic Ruin Zone straight to a fucking T. The music is used from Mushroom Hill Zone Act 1 and Hydro City Act 1. Why? Why is that? It's the hardest level in the game so far, and it's really, really hard to get 50 rings here. Actually, hold on, that's something I forgot to talk about. The method of getting the Chaos Emeralds is, collect 50 rings and jump into the giant ring at the end. Just like Sonic 1. Just like Sonic 1, you only get 1 try for each emerald. But the special stages are... Ah! Okay. Well, these are so fucking long. And the worst part, you get 1 try for each emerald. As I said before, this is the worst part of the game for me. Why do I get the feeling I've experienced this type of shit before? Anyway, these are a lot easier than Sonic 2, so I'll give it that. This zone is also where you fight Knuckles the Echidna. Now, the bosses in this game are generally very different from their Sonic 2 counterparts. Original even. But here it's different. It's the same Knuckles boss from Sonic 3. After the boss is done, Eggman steals the Chaos Emerald Knuckles had. And, clearly pissed off from this, Knuckles uppercuts Sonic. Sonic goes on to the tornado, and Sonic's out here like, the fuck just happened? Now, Sky Chase isn't all that different from Sonic 2's counterpart, not even in name. It's just Sky Chase. Though you do need 50 rings because it technically counts as an Act 1 to the next level we're going to take a look at, Aero Base. It's just Wing Fortress Zone. Music is from Death Egg Zone, don't care. The thing about the music is I really don't think it matters what Sonic 3 music it's taking and where it is. It's just some old bullshit. I have to point it out because it's part of the video, but whoever was making this music was perfectly capable of creating original tunes. So what the hell? Do I have to go to prison and ask Yuji Naka what SNK was thinking when making this? Ugh. The boss, though. The boss is special. It's Mecha Sonic Mark 1, or Silver Sonic, as older fans like myself were calling him. He's much easier because you have rings. Whereas in Death Egg Zone and Sonic 2, you didn't. So, therefore, suck my fat dick. The craziest part, though, is that the music is lifted from straight from Doomsday Zone. So if Doomsday Zone is right here, what's the final boss music gonna be? Well, in any case, we're in Gigantic Angel Zone now. And while it does look like Scrap Brain, I suddenly have a feeling that the slicers are gonna be... definitely Metropolis Zone. The boss is just stupid. You stand on the explosions to hit him. That don't make any sense. Well, let's do it. Final boss. For this one, you have to hit the Chaos Emerald first, before destroying Eggman. You destroy Eggman first, you won't get the Chaos Emerald. This was the hardest boss for me, because for about an hour or two, I tried, but I could only get, the normal ending. I stopped recording, so I could really lock in, and yeah, I did it. Normal ending is really good, however. The in-game art by either Satoshi Okano or Yuji Uekawa, I can't really tell, is fucking amazing. However, you know what'll happen if you do get the Chaos Emerald. You become Supersonic and head straight to the final boss. Sky Sanctuary? Why? Oh, right, they already used Doomsday Zone, didn't they? But Christ, this has got to be the most anticlimactic final boss I've ever seen! Like I said earlier, whoever was composing this was clearly capable of making newly original tunes, right? I feel as though the beautifully arranged, if slightly pandering, music in Sonic Mania is much better at harkening back to the good old days, right? While creating something new out of it. It's by Two Lopes, I mean, why not, right? And even Sonic the Hedgehog 4, as piss poor as its instrumentation is, it's still great composition-wise, as Jun Tsunoi, the original composer, had been able to remix the admittedly good Splash Hill Zone into a more tolerable mix. Twice. Once with his regular band, the other was with T. Lopes. Christ, I've gone wordy, haven't I? Anyway, you beat the boss by dashing into missiles to bounce them back to Eggman. It's remarkably different from Doomsday Zone, because the missiles were homing in on you in Sonic 3. You had to lead the missiles into Eggman there. Here, well, I made my point, haven't I? I beat the game, I get the good ending, it's really not that different, and it's a fun game. In fact, that's all I can really say about Sonic Pocket Adventure. It's a fun game. Is this game really as good as IGN's founding editor described? No. Not in my opinion. But it is still a good Sonic game. Perfectly mixing old with new. It's like hitting puberty and being forced to live your childhood before truly growing up. Begs the question though, where are the developers now? Well, obviously Yuji Naka's out of prison now, so I don't really know what he does outside of Twitter shenanigans, so that's fun. As for Takashi Nishiyama, he would leave SNK after making this game. He formed a new company with fellow SMK alumni, and what company would that be? Dimps? Oh shit. Dimps would go on to make the Sonic Advance Trilogy, Sonic Rush, Sonic Colors on DS, Sonic the Hedgehog 4, Sonic Unleashed on the Wii and PS2, as co-developers, and ports of Sonic Generations and Lost World for the Nintendo 3DS. They also made Dragon Ball Z Budokai for PS2 and GameCube. I see Satoshi Okano on Twitter a lot, even if I don't use it anymore. I hope the guy's got a blue sky. His art is fucking amazing. Yuji Uekawa still works at Sega to this day, being a character supervisor for the Sonic series alongside Kazuyuki Hoshino and Takashi Iizuka. Nobuhiko Honda would continue as an artist for the series, creating 3D art for Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic Heroes, and even Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games, when, according to legendary Sonic writer Shiro Maekawa, he would suddenly pass away in 2009. Honda was part of a long line of unsung heroes in the series. One of those being Michael fucking Jackson, and if I think Michael Jackson is on the same level as this guy, that must mean something, right? Wow, that ended on a fucking downer. I'm gonna go play Kirby Air Riders now. I just got it.
We went to the big guy.
We laid the whole thing out for him.
We told him we had this great idea for a new game called Sonic and Knuckles.
It's Knuckles in his own game. Plus, it has new technology.
Lock-on technology.
So you can play Knuckles in Sonic 2 and 3.
It's revolutionary.
He just laughed at us. So we sold the whole thing to Sega?
Who's laughing now? Fat Man!
Sega?
Hey, come on!
体が踊る絶叫体験を君に約束する。超音速アクションは止まらない。
Non-stop power play. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 from Mega Drive. This is what it feels like. It's Sonic. It's pinball. It's new Sonic Spinball. It's faster. Sega Genesis and game cartridge sold separately.
Blind hatred is the worst thing anybody can have. If you blindly hate something or someone, you forget what morals you have left. Sure, nowadays there's blind hatred everywhere. I wonder who made that happen. Anyway, while some things are black and white now, there is still some form of nuance. For example, I don't like a good chunk of the music in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds because I feel that the instrumentation is nowhere near as good as in Team Sonic Racing. That's just an opinion, and I know people who do like the music, but, you know, that's the nuance right there. At least I hope that is. Oh, and another thing. I consider Russell T Davies' second run on Doctor Who actually good, and some people are just too mean to him. I just canceled all my streaming subscriptions on Black Friday, so the only way I could watch it now is with physical releases. Oh boy, that's starting to wane down a little bit, isn't it? Physical releases? I sure hope there's still more of them. Also, I have a cold at the time of recording this, so if I sound like dog shit, that's why. Where am I going with this? Well, I get a lot of videos in YouTube recommendations saying that Sonic R is a bad game. It's just bad, as Rerez claims it to be. Is that true? Is it really as bad as people make it out to be? Let's find out. Ah, yes. The year 1997. What a great year for video games. Doctor Who had just been put back into televised limbo after the TV movie failed to garner the American audience that Fox wanted. Both Tupac and the Notorious B.I.G. were dead, and P. Diddy killed them. Come on. Let's not mince words here. Nintendo just released Mario Kart 64. We also had Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, Crash Bandicoot 2, and Nintendo was also in the middle of making Zelda 64, and a Kim of the White Lion game would be canceled. Wow. Sonic R was developed as a co-production between Sonic Team and British game developer Traveller's Tales. They just made Sonic 3D Blast together on Genesis and Saturn, and they decided to work together again. According to lead programmer John Burton, the game was originally going to be a Formula 1 racing game to rival Bizarre Creations' Formula 1 game on PS1. That's weird. Didn't Bizarre Creations make a Dreamcast game for Sega? The game was only a few months in development when Sega told Traveller's Tales that Sonic X-treme got cancelled and they needed at least something for the Sega Saturn. Here are the people who developed the game. The aforementioned John Burton, head of Traveller's Tales and lead programmer, has a YouTube channel called Game Hut. That's fun. Hirokazu Yasuhara, one of the co-creators of Sonic and lead level designer. Another co-creator, Yuji Naka, naturally produced this game alongside Tetsuo Shinyu. Richard Lloyd and Masamitsu Shino co-directed the game together. Shino does mobile games now, and every time I try to look for Richard Lloyd, I get the guitarist of the band Television. I love the Television. Takashi Iizuka was a level designer for the game, as well as Shun Nakamura. Iizuka is now the head of Sonic Team, and Nakamura directed Billy Hatcher in Sonic 06, and produced Sonic Forces. Jesus Christ, he can't catch a break. He redeemed himself by producing Shattered Generations, though. Yuji Uekawa was a character designer for the game, and Yoshi Takamura, another character designer, created the Tails doll. I wonder if he was thinking about that while designing the end for Sonic Frontiers. So, 5 months later, they released this. Yes, technically, this game took 9 months! I think the first few months was with the Formula 1 idea, and the other 5 was with this. Sonic R. What a great game. Yeah, I said it. Re-Res was wrong about most of the post-Genesis Sonic games they talked about, but this one I think they were wrong about the most. What's up next? And It's Just Bad video on Sonic Unleashed? Fuck you. To be honest, their videos are still good outside of their Sonic videos, and their constructive criticism really, it doesn't really come off as blind hate. It's why I still watch Re-Res to this day. It's just, I'm noticing a pattern of hate towards Sonic, and I think it's time to talk about it. Maybe after a few more reviews. Alright, let's not pussyfoot around. Let's start. I'm gonna use the GameCube version for the footage. This was part of Sonic Gems collection. The reason why I didn't use the Saturn version for most of the footage is because there's input lag. There's footage here because I wanted to show Saturn footage. And also the draw distance is pretty bad. Some PC footage will be used whenever I talk about the hidden stuff, so come on, let's go! When you start, you can select up to 4 characters. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. Let's get this out of the way. Do not pick Amy. She is literally the worst character in the game. Sonic's a little slippery, but he can do a double jump. Tails can fly. Knuckles is the best out of the base 4 characters, and he can glide, and he's the best when it comes to turning. Amy's just so fucking slow and slippery. Jesus fucking Christ. You hold forward on the analog stick to move around, similar to most platformers, but this is a racer, so you also have to be as fast as possible. I think the control is fine. The problem is you use the L and R buttons to make sharper turns. That's where other people could have problems with the game. Like Re-Res, but, you know. Ugh. Anyway, it's fun. You really feel like these characters. The controls are certainly not as good as Sonic Adventures, but I think it works. After all, this is only just a racing game. Here's another problem. This game goes on the Chameleon Twist route. There's only 5 fucking levels. 4 if you're going in for the first time. Granted, they are expansive and filled with secrets just like any real Sonic level, but I think that even John Burton felt that they were a little much in terms of design. I heard that he felt that the levels just weren't made for the controls. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. I think Iizuka, Yasuhara, and Nakamura really outdid themselves with the design of the levels. Outdid themselves a little too much. Another thing we have to talk about is the music. Holy shit, man. This is an acquired taste, yes. But also, fuck you. This music's fucking awesome, and I'm glad I'm not the only one who agrees. This is one of the few things I actually agree with Rerez on. This music's awesome. Composed by Richard Jacques, and featuring vocals by TJ Davis, the vocals were on every song. This was Yuji Naka's idea because he loves Supersonic Racing so much, which I agree. My favorite song in the game is either Number 1, which plays in the credits, or Living in the City, second level. The album will be released on January 1998, and I highly recommend it. I hope I get a vinyl copy of it. Sega, get on it. In order to unlock Eggman, you gotta play through all the levels normally. But in order to get most of the other unlockables, you gotta 1. Collect the Chaos Emerald. Not doing that without hope. But 2. You gotta collect 5 medals that are hidden throughout the level. You unlock Metal Sonic, Metal Knuckles, Egg Robo, and the cutest horror icon, the Tails doll. I need to talk about how iconic this particular character is. He's been made into a monster a lot, even in media. He looks like a giant pussy here. A little one. Anyway, he doesn't play great. I don't usually play any of the unlockables. But also, we can unlock Supersonic by getting the Chaos Emeralds, obviously. Supersonic is broken beyond fucking belief.
Things aren't always what they seem to be.
Get the fuck out of here, Jonathan Frakes. Some call me Johnny's original review on Sonic R, called Supersonic the Destroyer of Worlds. He's insane! I don't play Supersonic when doing multiplayer. Sonic R would be released on PC. It used to have literal online multiplayer, then it got revamped and now online multiplayer isn't real anymore. The revamped PC version, released on 2004, was used as the basis for a GameCube port of Sonic Gems Collection. It's a collection that includes Sonic CD, Sonic the Fighters, and tons of Game Gear games. Really, this collection was only worth it for Sonic the Fighters and Sonic R. In the PC version, which you can see here, I can't even make sharp turns. Bumpers don't work, so, you know. Oh, and also the Saturn version doesn't have 4-player multiplayer, while the PC and GameCube versions do. I want to do that now, so I think I'm going to call some of my friends. In conclusion, Sonic R is a good game. It's not one of the best, but it's not just bad like Shane and Adam from Rerez say. And as for Sonic 06, the takes I'm about to say in that video will make people want to kill me. Next time, it's a multiplayer extravaganza. Sonic R via Sonic Gems Collection. We might even play Sonic the Fighters too. See you later.
The 3-6 Mafia, lounging in the studio. Finna give y'all a little demonstration of how we kick it here in the M-Town. Finna drop it something like this.
See, yeah, in Memphis, them players we kinda like laid back. In some clean ass rides, blunts in the sack, but blowing the pack, hitting the park at about 3, sometimes a little later. The last day of the week, and they couldn't get any greater. They're leaving the punk and hitting that Southpaw Strip. Ride the South Gate and skating ring later on at night. We in the lot, booming our underground rap taste, Falling Juicy Part 2, and for another one, they just couldn't wait. We back at the crib, sweating in a little room. W30s, SB12, and MPCs we use. Straight from the 4-track to a simple cassette. They still pressed them up, now it's time to hit the stereo stores and collect. We at the club, fries and Saturday, special requests made. Me and Juice Man hit the table, scoop and scarecrow rock the stage. They get so bucked that some fools always gotta start a fight. They usually made us close up early that night. In the summer,